Hey everybody, it's Rory from A&S Gear, and today we're going to learn how to do some general maintenance on your paintball markers. All right guys, so today we're looking at a Gtek. This is a standard Gtek, and we've had some people ask about trigger adjustment on a Gtek inside here. So from the outside of the Gtek, you have 3 adjustments that you can make on the trigger itself. Now the adjustments are right there, that top one, not this one. This one is not for anything adjustment wise. This one down here, and then this one right here. Okay, so we'll start from the bottom. This one controls the travel length of the trigger, so how far you can pull it until it stops. And the way that works is there's a little screw on the back of the trigger right here that you adjust from the front side right here, and it actually sticks out the back of the trigger. And it will push against the frame right here. So depending on how far that screw sticks out will determine when the trigger bottoms out against the frame and when it stops traveling backwards. Right there. This top screw, which is adjusted through this one right here, controls the starting position of the trigger. By screwing this in, the set screw pushes against the body right here, up inside, up in here, and it will move the trigger backwards. So as you screw it in, the trigger will start to pivot this way to the I guess towards the frame, and you'll control your starting position right there. Now this middle one right here, or the second one down, well, I don't know if you want to call it that. This particular one right here, we'll call it this one for now, controls the spring return. So inside here there's a leaf spring, and this will push against that leaf spring and return the trigger back to its original position. This one right here is just a set screw that actually pushes against the pin that the trigger pivots on, and that keeps the trigger from falling out. So if we take this out, take these screws out here. Let me get this barrel off. We really don't need that on there. Get that off of there. You can see that the trigger, when I pull it, I'm the wrong way here. You can see the back of the trigger, and that's the part that's actually pushing against the micro switch inside there. So the back right here, so this part is pushing against the micro switch, which is right there, and activating it. There is no screw that actually goes through the trigger and pushes on the micro switch. So the activation point is always in the same spot. You can't control where the trigger physically touches the micro switch. You can only control where it starts, where it stops, and how well it springs back. And then we were talking about earlier the middle set screw. This pin right here, let's see, I'll show you guys. So I'm going to work on this hole right there. If I line this up here, if I crack that open a little bit, so I take it off there, I can slide that pin right out of there. This won't come out of here. I can take it off the other way. Let's just pull the trigger out so you guys can see it real quick. So I need to remove, I'm going to remove all of them. I don't actually need to remove them all, but I'm going to. So you technically would only need to remove the top wire, which comes in from the solenoid, the black and white wires, which are your eye wires. This wire right here, you could leave it connected because this is the one that goes to the micro switch, and it just connects to the board. And seeing as though we're pulling off the frame, and the micro switch is part of the frame assembly, you could leave it in, leave it assembled. But I'm going to take them all out. slide this down. Remember, never pull. And I can. I need a screwdriver. All right, so we got what we needed. Just a smaller Phillips. You can see this spring has a Phillips right there. Little screw. So let's take that out. So there you have it. So this little leaf spring right here sits in the frame, kind of like that. And when the trigger rocks back, this set screw right here will push against this little arm of the spring. It'll flex it back and then it will push it back forward. Flex it back, spring pushes it forward. So that's the only thing that this screw does right here. And again, we talked about the top one here coming through, and it's going to push on the underside of the spring, and that's going to be pushing down on it. So wherever that screw sits is where the trigger pivot starts. This middle one doesn't do anything. It actually locks the pin in there. So if we tighten this down right now, holds the pin in so it doesn't fall out. This lower one is what pushes against the leaf spring and pushes it back. So that's your spring return. And then this bottom one is your stop position on the trigger. So depending on where you set it up, these are the options that you have as far as adjustments. And then you can kind of make your trigger your own custom feel from there on out. So you guys don't need to sit through me putting it back together. So that's trigger adjustments on a Gtek, what they do, where they are, and how to adjust them. Catch you next time.